Today I realized that the most important things are the small things, the smallest of them, legitimately the smallest of them. What I mean by that is today I've had a situation where I've spoke to my younger sister about some issues that we had for the past few years, with me being an older brother of 4 years, me being like the figure of an older brother, being overprotective and stuff like that. She had allegations, if you can call them like that, that I was always overprotective older brother, that I was a snitch and stuff like that. And my backup to allegations like that were like, I'm an older brother, like I had to do that. That was for the best, in my best interest for you, like to be a role model and stuff like that. And in a way, I wouldn't say I failed, but in some situations I shouldn't have acted like I've done. Like I shouldn't have been as protective as I've been, or just be a snitch of sort to tell my parents what happened. Like, of course, when I was younger, I couldn't solve some of the problems that she had. And of course, that the first people I'd go to were my parents. But sometimes she took that the wrong way and maybe misunderstood. But finally, after all these years that, someone held a grudge against one another, and finally we talked it out. I said my part, me being the older brother, me being respectful to her and her privacy as always. But I've had to snitch in some situations and be that person to protect her. I think I've done a good role. I could have been better, and also I did brought up myself to think about stuff like that, and that is important because finally today, after all these years, I understood her. I did ask myself some interesting questions, and it did make me think, which today is, not today, but it is important to think. Like it, for me, I would say it's better to spend 3 hours in a day thinking than 3 hours in a day scrolling social media. Like that, I don't think I have to explain that much deeper. That's just how it should be. Like, better spend some time reading, talking to people you want to understand, you should have understood. Also, I've had a situation today where I worked the first shift. So for example, I was up in the morning from 8 and working until 4 p.m. And then after that, for the first time in a long time, I didn't want to feel the tiredness that a person would feel, of course, after working for 8 hours. I then went straight away. So it was really cool to see like the come up of the place, of the building, and like in general of the situation. But what I mean by this is, for the first time in a long time, I felt the connection that I want to do this hard part of going to the construction site, working for another 3 hours. But the bigger picture here is hanging out with my older brother, who I don't see as much, since of course we are now older and he has a family, I have a job. Like, it's so important to connect with the loved ones, and because sometimes people overthink, and we tend to eat ourselves because of the mistakes we have made in our past and that we didn't act on time. But if you have that perception of things, it's gonna eat you, and you'll feel depressed like every single day. If you just act on it, so like I've done today, say no more of this, I'm gonna go straight up there, I'm tired as hell, but I need to see him, I want to see him, and I want to spend time with him. Doesn't matter if you're tired. Like, you should in a way purchase that to yourself and owe it to yourself, and owe it to myself and my older brother. And really, today I realized that the small things really do matter the most. This filled me up with so much love, energy, and all around feeling good about myself, that I did overcome the laziness, the overthinking. I've just done it. The talk with my younger sister, the hanging out with my older brother. So really, it filled me up with so much love. I hope some of you guys can relate to this, that maybe you have done wrong in the past to your brothers, sisters, or yourself. But there's always a place and a time in your life to reconstruct the things, the relationships. But you just need to make the first step. Really. Like, if you ever think that it's about someone else's mistakes or like that, just try to not think of that. Try to make yourself do the first move. So let this be a good example of how things could and should be handled.